Hey everyone, my name is jackborn. I'm the founder of Deadline Funnel. Now, you've probably heard Facebook is trying to adapt and deal with the iOS updates from Apple. And as a result, more and more entrepreneurs are turning to YouTube as a place to reach their ideal audience and bring in high quality leads. But if you're new to YouTube advertising, or if you've tried it with limited success in the past, you probably want to know what the keys are to making it actually work for your business. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. My guest is none other than Aleric Heck. You've probably seen his YouTube ads again and again. I know that his ads are all over my YouTube feed, which is why I brought him here to share what he knows so that you can implement it in your business. Aleric is a YouTube ads expert and the founder of Ad Outreach. He's been on YouTube for over 12 years, first growing a YouTube channel to over 500,000 subscribers. Over the last 7 years, Aleric has taught entrepreneurs and marketers how to leverage YouTube ads to grow and scale through his company, Ad Outreach. Aleric has helped his clients generate over 9 figures combined from YouTube ads and scaled his own business to 8 figures. Please welcome Aleric Heck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack. I'm excited to be on here.
Yeah, it's great. I've been looking forward to this because, like I said, every time, it's almost every day that I turn on YouTube. By the way, that's one of my, of all the vices, I've been able to shut off Facebook and Instagram. I'm really good about not going on those, but YouTube is my social media addiction of choice. And every time that I turn it on, I'm seeing one of your ads at least once a day. So that's what we want to do. We want to be all over the place and in front of our audience. So let's start with the fundamental difference between advertising on Facebook versus advertising on YouTube.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so the big difference, and one of the reasons, probably one of the ads that you've seen, maybe some other people have seen too, is, I talk about how YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. That's the quote that I have. But the reason that I say that is there's actual scientific reasoning behind why YouTube ads outconvert Facebook ads. And the reason for that is you're targeting people in 3 dimensions. You're targeting people not just based on who they are, right? The demographics about them, their interests, what they like, which is what you're doing on Facebook, but you're also reaching them with a 3rd dimension, which is what are they doing right now? What are they watching? One of the big problems that people have when they're advertising on Facebook is you might be reaching the right person, and maybe they have the ability to buy, right? The right demographics, right person, right interests, but you don't know if you're reaching them at the right time because people are just scrolling through Facebook. So you could reach somebody at the perfect time. We could also reach somebody while they're just quickly checking their phone, quickly checking Facebook between doing different things. And so the problem is if you don't know that somebody's in an actual learner's mindset or a buyer's mindset, and you get in front of them at the wrong time, then you're not going to get as many conversions as on YouTube if you could target them, the right person with the right demographics, the right area that you're looking to target, the ability to invest, and the specific video that they're watching right now, which is intent. So what YouTube has, Facebook doesn't, is intent. Facebook tries to make up for it with their algorithm, right? But the problem is sometimes their algorithm's right, you get good results. Sometimes it's wrong, you get bad results. So it goes up and down like a roller coaster effect. And that's the big problem on Facebook is the algorithm is trying to guess the right time. And that's only gotten worse after the recent iOS updates versus on YouTube, you could target somebody when they're actually interested in learning or purchasing when they have that learner's mindset with that intent.
Yeah, so I've heard said that YouTube is the world's 2nd biggest search engine, Google being the first. And so I know for myself, it might be, a specific, kite surfing technique. So I'm big into kite surfing. I love surfing, hydrofoiling. So it might be that, or I might want to learn negotiation. So sometimes I'm specifically going to YouTube because I want a video. And so I'm typing something in there, and that would be a perfect time for someone's video to show up on that topic, right?
Exactly. So you can layer your campaigns with who somebody is, but also the video that they're watching right now. And so if you're selling something related to kite surfing, which is actually pretty cool. So if you're selling something related to that, or you're selling something related to negotiating or marketing or weight loss or whatever it happens to be, and somebody's watching those videos on YouTube, you're reaching them when they're in the learner's mindset. They're actively learning. And so if you get in front of them with a video that shows that your method, your product, service, solution, coaching offer, consulting offer, whatever it happens to be, right, is going to provide a better service than just watching a free YouTube video, which you know it is. That's why you're in the marketplace. That's why you're selling what you're selling. So you get in front of that right person with your products, with your services, with your programs. Then what you can do is get them to actually go and watch a video, and then from that video, go and take action. So we love doing VSLs or webinars on the back end of a YouTube ad. The reason for that is people are already consuming video-based content on YouTube. So it's the perfect timing to get them to watch a longer form, VSL, video sales letter, or webinar.
So let's I was going to go in a different direction, but let's pick up where you led me. So where you like to take people is they're watching they go on YouTube, they search, they have intent, showing the ad, and then you like to take people to another video presentation. Do they typically have to opt in? Or I know I've seen, one of the hooks that I've seen in some of your ads personally is, hey, there's no opt-in, you can just go and watch it. So can you share what's working for you and your clients right now in terms of a good place to start?
Yeah, so we have some ads with no opt-in. We have other ads that have opt-ins. What we've found for VSLs is eliminating friction works really well. So no opt-in on a VSL can work really well for a lot of our clients. I will say that's not our highest converting for us. Actually, our best is still the age-old webinar. And I know, with yourself and, deadline funnels and all of that, countdown timers work really well. So having a webinar that's every hour on the hour where you have a countdown, this is when the webinar is going to happen. That's still, technically our highest producing funnel is YouTube ad to webinar, to then the webinar itself leads to a phone call, and then from that phone call to becoming a client. Some of the stats on this, just to break down the numbers, because I've told people these stats and they're blown away based on current data. Some of the stats on this is on our every hour on the hour webinar, we have an average 56% show rate and about 20% on the replay. So we're getting 76 in general. By the way, a pro tip is anybody who doesn't show up to the webinar, run them an additional ad that goes directly. This is a little bit advanced, but if they don't show up, they registered, but they don't watch, you can actually run an ad to a no opt-in VSL, which is what you're referring to, because clearly there's some kind of friction there and you want to remove that. And that works really well to capture that other, 20% or whatever that percentage is that's not watching it. But it's about 56% showing up to that webinar every hour on the hour. And I've heard some people that are less than a quarter of the signups, especially on Facebook. But on an hour and 8-minute long webinar, our average watch time is 53 minutes, where we give the opportunity to book a call at 45 minutes into the webinar. And so those numbers convert incredibly well for us with our overall funnel. That funnel itself, YouTube ad to webinar, acknowledging that there have been updates like each year, we'll do a sequential update to that webinar. But that YouTube ad to webinar to phone call is an 8-figure funnel in our business individually. Like that funnel itself, obviously with updates every time, platforms change, our strategies update, all of that stuff. But that funnel itself is a tried and true funnel that still works in today's day and age when you're running on YouTube, because people on YouTube are more likely to actually not only opt in for a webinar, but actually show up and then watch more of it because they're currently actively watching videos to learn on YouTube.
So I'm curious to know, maybe this can be just a quick question. I'm curious to know, have you tried having something that's available all the time? So rather than just being available on the hour, they still have to opt in, but they can just get right in and start watching it.
Absolutely. We have a VSL opt-in that's available all the time. And we also have a VSL that has no opt-in that of course is available all the time. The interesting thing is people like both extremes. So the webinar works really well and it's just tried and true. It's the way we've been doing it, bringing people in. And it's really interesting because the watch rate, like that 53 minutes on an hour and 8-minute long webinar is just, it's so high. It's so high that that just continues to perform for us, even though, we are going to lose like about 45% initially. And then we have another 20% that watch the replay. And then out of that other, let's say, 25% or so, we're going to then retarget them with no opt-in VSL ads. A regular VSL, the interesting thing is we found that doesn't perform as well as the webinar, or as well as just going directly to a no opt-in VSL, actually advertising, hey, no opt-in, go click the link, watch the video. They watch the video. And then at the end, there's the ability to book a call. And then we're optimizing that funnel for booked calls versus the other funnels we're optimizing for. There's a hybrid way to, it gets complicated when you talk about lead attribution. But what we can do is we can do data-driven that's optimizing for a weighted leads and applications, obviously weighting, phone call bookings, applications higher than leads, but factoring it all into what we're optimizing for.
Okay, let's back up. I think I took us deep in the weeds pretty quick. Let's back up to the ads and the targeting. So I know that both are going to be super important, but in the limited time that we have, do you find that people who are just starting on YouTube or people who have tried and they haven't succeeded, do you feel like it's something in the ad itself, in the video itself, or is it mostly the targeting? Like, where would you start with helping someone try to troubleshoot why, either getting a great first start or troubleshooting something that didn't work right out of the gate?
Absolutely. That's a really good question. And I want to take a step back and talk about, here are the big strategies that we recommend on YouTube. The first is the video itself. And I'm going to give you a simple 3-part framework to the YouTube ads that we've found works the best script for YouTube ads. And then on the targeting, it's the same thing, a simple 3-part framework for targeting your YouTube ads. So on the ad itself, we found there's 3 main components to winning ad. It's a hook to draw people in, capture their attention, educate, you're actually providing value on the ad. And I'm going to break this down step by step in a second. So you're actually providing genuine value, and then a call to action to get them off of the video and into the rest of your funnel. So hook, educate, call to action. The biggest thing and the biggest mistake that people get wrong when they start running YouTube ads is they miss that middle step, the education section, because they're used to ads on Facebook or other platforms where most people, what they do is they have a hook. So they say, they ask if somebody has this problem, or they call out a problem in the industry. And then they say, do you want the solution? Well, go opt in for my webinar. So, hey, do you have this problem? Okay, go sign up. But there's no substance there. So yes, you will get some conversions, especially if you target the right people. However, not as many as you can get if you provide actual value on your video. So we want to have the hook to pull people in, but then provide actual value. And what we recommend is the what and the why, but not the how. So you want to talk about what are 3 to 5 of the biggest key points to what you have to offer, big differentiators, aha moments, things that are misconceptions in the marketplace that you want to change. And if you have 3 to 5 of those key bullet points, those key teachings, you don't need to talk about the how. You can talk about that later, but the what and the why. And you focus on that, and then you have a call to action. So hook, educate, call to action, usually about 2.5 minute long to 3 minute long video is what we recommend. And then that's sending people directly to that next step.
Okay. So in the educate, you're talking about the what and the why, but not the how, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. And sometimes in my mind, that might be shifting someone's perspective. Like, hey, a lot of people make this mistake, and here's why that's a big mistake. And then the next step would be to find out like the details of how to execute on the correct strategy, right?
Exactly. Or even just saying the biggest things that you need to do if you're going to start, let's say, marketing your business or losing weight. Like, here are the big misconceptions, here are the big things that you need to do, but not diving into exactly what they need to do. Just talking about, here are the bullet points of these different points. And then on the webinar, on the training, you'll dive deeper into step by step.
Can you talk to the concern that I know some people are going to have about, well, I need the fanciest, most modern camera. It's super expensive. I need the tripod. I need the studio lights. And I think I know what your answer is going to be, but I still want to hear it from you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, because what we have found is that those overly produced videos actually feel less authentic, and it's better for you to show up as yourself. You can just have an iPhone, right, and a gimbal. I mean, these cameras now are 4K cameras on your iPhone. There's a little tool called a gimbal that you can plug your iPhone into that will stabilize the phone. It's like $120 on Amazon. And you put those two together, you don't need any fancy equipment. You can pick up the phone and record. We have had many 6 and even 7-figure, and in some cases, in a couple particular cases, even 8-figure funnels that are literally YouTube ads that were literally just filmed on an iPhone. They don't need to have a fancy, production studio, fancy lights, fancy cameras. You have a good camera already on your phone. You can stabilize it with this little tool. It's called a gimbal. It stabilizes the phone so it doesn't shake all over the place. And just make sure you have some good sound conditions. And you can record a really good video that can get great conversions just using your iPhone and something to stabilize it.
So maybe this is a nitty-gritty question, but is there a particular product manufacturer for the gimbal that you particularly like?
Yeah, the DJI Osmo Mobile 5 is really good. Mobile 4 is also good too, those last 2 versions. And that's right there on Amazon. I think it's like $120, $130. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the targeting. What do we want to know? So with YouTube, you're talking about how there's we can come at the targeting from a lot more granular dimension. So for someone who's just starting out, maybe they don't have an ads manager. First of all, they could go to ad outreach. You guys have those services, but what are some key things that someone needs to know, or maybe some mistakes that they need to avoid?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things when people actually start targeting the ads is they targeted only 2 dimensions. So we talked about how on Facebook, there's 2 main dimensions that people target in. It's the demographics, so that's the location, the age, gender, parental status, some of these other details about them. And then also the interests and affinities, so the pages that they like, their behaviors, those types of things. And people do that on Facebook, but the problem is there's no intent. There's no actual time that you're targeting the videos. Well, people make a different mistake when they go on YouTube. Because they're used to that, they'll either go in on YouTube and they'll target based on, again, the same thing, demographics, and then layer it with those interests and affinity audiences, or they'll layer it with specific videos only. But the problem with that is you're only targeting in 2 dimensions. You want to target in all 3 dimensions. Layer the demographics of who somebody is, where they're located. Also, household income works really well, so you can target based on that. I know we're going to get a little bit more into our advanced targeting shortly here. But then layer that with who that person is, the audiences, the affinity, the interests, and then combine that with the videos that they're watching. So specific video targeting, we like to do it with keywords. So specific keywords based on what somebody is searching for or watching on YouTube. And you're layering the 3 of those together: demographics with who somebody is, the audience side of it, and the keywords. That's the biggest component because you want to start out targeting that perfect person. Think about it like a Venn diagram. You take those demographics. Let's just say, I'll use myself as an example. Top 30% household income earners. Let's just say, US, UK, Australia, Canada. Then layer that over here with audiences. So somebody who's a business owner, they maybe have ClickFunnels, right? We can even target based on URLs. Again, we'll get deeper in that advanced section. You could target based on who somebody is and what their interests are, and then layer it with what they're watching right now. Let's say they're watching a video on YouTube ads or on Facebook ads maybe, and I can show them why YouTube's better. So right at that center, top 30% household income earner, business owner into ClickFunnels, and they're watching videos on marketing, let's say Facebook ads or YouTube ads, right in the center, that is my ideal person. Yes, could we reach people just targeting one of these? Sure, but it's going to take longer for us to actually dial in, and we're going to waste some of that spend on people who might not be the right person or might not be in the buyer's, learner's mindset. So if we layer all of those together, we can pinpoint the perfect person and get the best return on our ad spend.
That's really, really great. Where I want to go next is, so I used to work with Perry Marshall for years and years. And so he's the guru of Google AdWords on the search and on the display network side. So he's back when he first wrote, his first book about Google AdWords, testing and Google's ability to test one ad versus another and to see improvements in tiny little words or even punctuation was a huge, huge concept. So is there testing that you can do inside of YouTube, and how would you recommend that someone start out? Should we start out with with one video and test different types of placements? Should we be testing multiple different videos? What would you recommend to someone who's just diving in?
So you want to test multiple videos, multiple audiences, and multiple keywords. And with multiple videos, I have another really cool secret for everybody here is you can actually film 5 to 10 videos and make it feel like you only film 2 videos. The way you do that is we talked about the hook, educate, call to action. Usually all you need is different versions of the hook. The educate and the call to action are usually the same for your offer. Maybe you do 2 versions of the educate. But what you could do is you could film hook 1, hook 2, hook 3, hook 4, hook 5, just individually, like, take 15 to 30 seconds on each hook, right? However long they are. Then film your education section or 2, and then film your call to action. Then put it all together. Let's say you have 5 hooks, 2 education sections, 1 call to action. That creates 10 different videos that you can then test, but it only feels like you filmed 10 videos or 2 videos because you're putting them together like Lego blocks. So instead of filming 10 entire long videos, you're filming the pieces of video. So 5 hooks, 2 educate sections, 1 call to action, and you're putting them together like Lego blocks. And it feels like you filmed 2 videos, but you end up with 5 to 10 videos.
That's awesome. How much budget would someone need in order for them to have enough data to test? And I know it's going to depend on the market, but just as a general idea, what sort of daily budget should someone be looking at for that type of testing?
So we typically recommend as the minimum on the minimum side, we recommend a minimum of $50 a day. That's because we found the best results with at least $25 per day per campaign. We don't like to only test 1 campaign because then we're putting all our eggs in one basket. So at the very least, test 2 campaigns at that $25 per day, just so you give enough budget for the algorithms to really be able to test with what you give it. So obviously you don't want to just rely on the algorithm. You want to do that 3D targeting, but you want to have enough budget in there so you can get some meaningful results. So typically we start a lot of our clients off between $100 to $200 per day. And then we scale up once we see those returns coming in. Some clients start larger. Again, some start at 50, but you want to have enough. I'd say at least $25 per campaign. And then you want to start with 2 to 4 campaigns. Usually you start at $25 to $50 per campaign. So that's what I would recommend.
Awesome. So going back to your formula of hook, educate, call to action, and the structure of how we're going to put these together as Lego blocks. I know that the first few seconds of any video, whether it's a webinar, but particularly YouTube ad, is absolutely critical. My understanding is that if someone clicks away, skip ad, you're not paying for that person, but you also want to grab someone quickly who is your ideal person. So let's focus in on the hook. What are some key things that someone needs to know in order for that hook to really, really work for them?
So some key things that I recommend on the hook side is you want to attract your ideal client, but actually repel somebody who's a bad fit away from you. So I'll give a couple of examples. There's a few different ones. So there's kind of more of a statement-based hook, right? That kind of creates a bold statement right off the bat. There's curiosity hooks, there's problem solution hooks. So a couple of hooks that work really well for us is YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. Let's face it, lead costs are going through the roof. And even when you have a great ad, they're almost impossible to scale. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use YouTube video ads to get consistent leads and sales. And then I'll go into the educate section. And so with that, what I can do is I make a bold statement right at the beginning. YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. And then I hit a pain point. Let's face it, Facebook ad costs are going through the roof. And then I emphasize it, even when you have a great ad, they're almost impossible to scale. Then I transition to saying, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use YouTube video ads to get XYZ, what they're looking for. And so with that, what we're doing is we're capturing people's attention. So people are curious. They either agree or disagree with that statement, but now they're going to watch the video. And then in that ad, I'm going to back up why YouTube works so well. And then obviously get them to take action to opt into my webinar. And so what I'm doing too, is I'm also repelling people who are a bad fit away. If they really don't want to hear me talk about this, they can skip. If they don't want to hear me talk about YouTube, if they're not running Facebook ads or YouTube ads or aren't a business owner, they're not really going to care about what I'm saying. So I've seen some people do this where they kind of start off their ads. I remember somebody starting off their ads, with like pulling up, fancy car, getting out. But the problem with that is you're not instantly pulling the right people in and repelling the wrong people, because that was for an offer, aimed at entrepreneurs and business owners. But there's a lot of people that like, nice cars. In general, that's not even my favorite thing to do in marketing. But I remember talking with them and saying, your view rates are really high. A lot of people are watching this ad, but not a lot of people are converting, because you're getting people that aren't your ideal client to watch the ad because of the spectacle of watching this, fancy car, versus having you actually talking and teaching and saying what you're going to do. Especially with ads that are more info based, you're more of an expert, coach, consultant, course creator, speaker, author. I really love ads that are more built around what you're saying than any type of external type of thing that could be flashy or really capture attention, because it's going to capture a lot of people's attention, not necessarily your ideal client. Versus if you're speaking directly to your ideal client and repelling non-clients away, that's going to be the best way to pull in the most high quality people from your ads.
So I think before we go into the advanced session, if we could just end with this quick question, is there a minimum sort of price point below which you find that even the best finely tuned YouTube ads, it makes it a challenge to make the economics work?
I love that question. That's a really good question. Under $100, you need to really be dialed in and also have a strong, LTV. If your AOV is under $100. So we found YouTube ads absolutely are incredible for anything high ticket, courses, kind of higher priced items. In terms of that mid ticket, they do really, really well. It takes a little bit more dialing in. They do really well with solid funnels and solid offers. What I would say on the low ticket side of things, or e-commerce side of things, is we have e-commerce and low ticket clients that do extremely well on YouTube. However, you need to have a funnel that's really dialed in, or a product that's really dialed in. Our Shopify store is really dialed in, because those margins are smaller. So there's less room to maneuver. It's the same on every platform. But what I will say is YouTube is focused around finding that high quality person. So whereas other platforms can drive a lot of traffic, and that actually harms higher end offers. That's why YouTube ads are far better than Facebook ads for anything that's that higher ticket offer where you're looking for quality. But when you have a low ticket product, sometimes it is a traffic driving play. So that's where you have to be a little bit more cautious, just to make sure that it's not overkill for what you're doing. So under $100, you have to really know your numbers, really have some good margins within that area to succeed. Over $100 YouTube ads do really well.
Awesome. Okay. Well, as I mentioned, we do have an advanced session, but for now, this is a good spot for us to end the main session. In that advanced session, Aleric and I are going to go into some deeper details on the advanced targeting you can use inside of YouTube. You don't want to miss this. Right now, I'm the founder of Deadline Funnel. There's going to be a countdown next to this video. You have a special price. Don't miss out on that. You definitely want to upgrade, because you don't want to miss out on what Aleric and I are going to be sharing in that advanced session. Now, before we go, Aleric, I want to make sure you tell everyone how they can learn more about you, in case they haven't seen hundreds of your videos every single time they log into YouTube. But how can they find out more about you? And if you have any last thoughts on what we discussed in that main session.
Absolutely. So I have a full YouTube ads training updated for 2022. If you just go to adoutreach.com, you can see that right there on the homepage. We have full 2022 YouTube ads training. You can also find me on YouTube, Aleric Heck. And I'm also, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as well. So thank you so much. And I appreciate it. I'm excited for the advanced training as well.
Awesome. See you guys over there.